We're live? Hey, it worked.
Oh, no.
Awesome.
And I was looking so forward to going back to sleep.
Oh, that's amazing. So, hey, guys, welcome to Arkansas.
Thanks for
We're
having
here.
us.
We're here. Oh, boy.
It's muggy.
I don't know what's going on,
Go.
so I don't. Okay, that's the beauty of being
Yeah,
live.
we're live. We're definitely
We are
live.
definitely
Definitely
Yeah,
live.
this is not a webinar.
No?
No.
Yeah, so
webinar.
step one, if you've discovered this is not a webinar, we are actually live broadcasting from the floor of the shop.
Absolutely.
Somebody's either cheering in the background or there's a flyer someplace because they're
Yeah.
just jumping and their hands are going back and forth. I don't know. I don't
well,
know. I'm unsure.
Here's the thing. So we are simulcasting. This is the first time we've ever done this. So we've
Yeah.
been live before, and you guys, Repair You, Jason, you were a guest in Repair You for many years,
Yep.
and so, but we are now simulcasting across all the social media platforms of Collision Hub.
Oh, boy.
So people can choose to watch it on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube Live or LinkedIn Business or a lot
Yeah,
of
nothing's going to go wrong with this.
Yeah, so it's the people behind the camera. If everyone could see the flurry that's back there, we have the easy job this week. So, so we have got a full week
You got
planned.
the easy job. I got to sit next to these two.
Well, somebody's got to keep them in. No, I didn't think I invited you, Mark.
I know. I got
Somebody's got to keep them in check. So we have a full 2 weeks. I am excited. I haven't seen anybody since, Larry came in for a week, and Jason, you got to come in. But other than that, Mark, I haven't seen you since when?
It's like a year and a half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been
I
crazy.
think the last time I saw you was at SEMA. And prior,
Yeah,
that was it.
felt that.
Wow,
SEMA over a year ago, or about a year ago.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're not wearing masks.
No.
Right.
Don't tell the governor.
No, we're actually
Right.
social distancing. We're all 6 feet away, but our great computerized team back there,
Made it work.
filmmakers, have us all. We're all in front of blue screens. We're nowhere near each other, and now we're just placed next to
And
each
it looks
other.
like we're next to each other.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It almost looks like I could touch Mark.
Almost.
Almost.
Well, I am excited. We have people coming in from multiple countries. We have people coming in from countries that have to quarantine to come in and quarantine to go out, and they were willing to make that risk to come in
That's pretty awesome.
and be live.
Yep.
We've got some world debut software that's going to come out. We've got some new products that we're going to show over the next 2 weeks. We're just going to have some
That's
fun.
The World's
parade.
Fair.
It's the World Fair.
Yeah.
And I got
love it.
funnel cakes and fried Oreos
Oh, no.
and all the cool stuff.
I'm excited about the corn dogs.
Yeah, having the funnel cakes out.
We're
in the
going to
parking lot.
barbecue, though.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll barbecue. We don't fry anything. We barbecue.
Is going to be awesome. All right, so let's kick this off with what I think is a crucial conversation, right?
Is that the title of this? I can't spell
you-
it, but I remember the name of it.
Did you catch that segue? What did you
Yes.
think of the segue?
Oh, but
Okay, then-
smooth like a sledgehammer.
I know, I thought it was great. So I started getting a lot of calls within the last 6 months from a lot of shops struggling, and we, let's not be unrealistic. We were struggling before, but we're struggling now because it's harder to get and keep a customer. And so shops will call and go, I explained, I did my blueprint, the customer either says no to me then, or I did my blueprint, I thought all was well, the customer calls me a couple days later and says they're moving the car. I don't get it, where did we go wrong? And part of that is that we lack some critical conversation skills in this industry. We don't teach them. Right? And we didn't have to have them for a long time. The customer came in, handed us the keys, and we said, we've got this from here, see you later, bye-bye.
Yep.
So now we're back on having to get back into customer service. We've talked about it, we've CSI scored it, but we never really serviced the customer. So I'm glad that you are here, because each of you have a different perspective. Jason, we're going to talk about crucial conversations that have to take place internally within our technicians. We're going to talk about the external customer. We're going to talk about our bill payer conversations. We're going to talk about all those and how to get better at capturing the keys and winning the customer. So I think to first understand the customer experience, and even to a lot of extent the adjuster experience in this industry, we've got to understand what mental state they're in. So in the grand scheme of things, being successful in this industry comes down to a lot of psychology, right? So there's some dark psychology and there's some really, sunshine and rainbow psychology to this business, and understanding them both. So we have to first understand that our customer has experienced a loss. So I got into a pretty good argument online. I know you're shocked. I know y'all are all shocked that I got into an argument online.
You don't really want to
Yeah.
go, right?
Because one of the independent companies, independent adjusting firms in our industry, had put out there that auto claims were an inconvenience, but that homeowners claims were a personal disaster. And I was like, yeah, okay. And sometimes because we handle claims over and over, we handle collision over and over, we take for granted that loss experience that is for a customer.
But how many people die in homeowners claims?
Well, slip and falls in the bathtub. Yeah, but majority, so I worked both, and I managed both in claims, and a majority of my homeowners claims were a busted water heater, something simple, a couple of missing tabs off a shingle. Sure, I had a total loss fire, you had a hurricane come through and take stuff out. But, in auto, sometimes I have bumpers, and sometimes I have big, massive, total losses, or there's death and dismemberment. So there's that spectrum and all. But our car is our transportation. It's how we get to work. It's how we provide for our families. It's
our
how
freedom.
it's our freedom. It's
Yeah.
how we carry our kids
Personal
around.
expression of yourself. People love their cars.
Yeah,
and
yeah. So there's a loss. So we've had a loss, and when I have a loss, that makes me vulnerable. So as a customer, I am now vulnerable. I've experienced a loss. I am emotionally, I don't want to say distraught. Not everybody loses it over a bumper
some
cover.
people do.
Some people do, but not everybody loses it over a bumper cover. But I've had this loss, and now I'm entering into something I don't know about. Right? And that makes me vulnerable. From an adjuster's perspective, having managed those for so many years, and estimators on both sides of that spectrum, I feel vulnerable going into a shop when I'm not necessarily the subject matter expert. So I know when I pull into that parking lot, like when I would have to go to Mid-Island and visit Larry, I knew going into that parking lot, the next 4 hours is a butt chewing.
You got out there in 4 hours?
I did occasionally.
Yeah, okay.
So I would fake an illness. I would have somebody call me in 4 hours and tell me that my kid's sick, right? So I'm feeling vulnerable already in that situation. And when I have a loss that makes me vulnerable, I now have trust issues.
Right.
So, and if we think about that in our personal lives, that's really easy for people to get. Yeah. When I feel vulnerable, I have trust issues, right? Whether that's a spouse, whether that's, a relative, whatever that is, we have trust issues. And so our customers walk through the door with trust issues. Yeah. Adjusters walk through the door with trust issues. And those are extremely hard to overcome. So that's why when you can't figure out, I explained all this to you, why'd you listen to the adjuster, why'd you do whatever? My default is to trust something I've known longer.
Yep.
And I've known that insurance company longer. Mark, you and I were talking about being indoctrinated with commercials.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter what insurance company commercial you look at, so there's many of them that are, you got to trust us, and all that. And even some of the other ones are talking about price, but generally speaking, they know the brand and they trust the insurance company far more than they trust ABC Body Shop.
Right. This is a big brand. They're known. What would
Yeah.
they do? And the commercials are great. I mean, like, who doesn't want to play cornhole with Patrick Mahomes?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Or catch with Favre, or your guy.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron
Number
Rodgers.
12, that's right.
Well, to me, Favre will always beat Green Bay.
Yeah.
Well, we can have
We'll talk about that later.
Don't forget he was a Viking for a while.
Yeah, but they're fun, and because I have this ongoing relationship via TV. So we talk about the effects of social media and relationship building. That constant view, that online connection, is as strong as a personal connection. I'm having these relationships with these insurance companies through their commercials, so I have more trust for them. So you put me in a situation without trust, and I'm going to go somewhere where there's a default.
Yep.
So that comes down to what I like to call the trifecta of communication barriers, right? We in the collision repair business have so much more to overcome than anyone else that is going to enter this conversation.
Yeah.
Whether it is the adjuster talking to the customer, talking to a rental car agency or whatever, we are at the trifecta of I got to do 3 times the work to get just to the same level they are.
Yeah.
Now, the difference between good and great that happens all the time is, why does this one shop not have a problem selling their estimate? Why are their customers willing to do RTAs and do all these other things? Is they're really good at communication.
They get the trust of the customer.
They get that trust and they're really good at it. So we've got to figure out how to overcome those communication barriers. So what I wanted to talk about today is that we really stink at it in this business. Because our comfort zone as repairers and technicians and whatever is with the physicality of the car. We're comfortable there. We feel empowered there. That's where we're the subject matter expert on those kind of things. And we immediately go to that.
Yep.
And we leave the customer still in non-trust land. And we don't teach communication in this
And
industry.
well, one of the things that when we get a call, is the customer, first question is, what shop fixed it? And sometimes they don't even know what shop fixed it. And then if they do know the shop, who'd you talk to? Oh, I don't know, they have brown hair.
Right.
I mean, clearly they're calling me because they don't trust the shop.
Right. When I have a shop that tells me that, oh, we're known in the community and we have brand loyalty, and I go,
No, you don't.
no, you don't.
No.
But we're going to talk about communication. We're going to keep talking about communication through next year, because I think the real differentiating power between shops is not going to be, do you have the latest frame rack? Are you OE certified? Any of those things. It's going to be, can you talk to people and carry on a conversation? Jason, you and I were talking about keeping your technicians and not having turnover and having successful repairs is a communication problem, and trust and communication. So our objectives. We want the customer, or even internal if we're talking about our employees, to find comfort in the choice of their actions. So we find comfort through acceptance. We find acceptance through conversation. We need them to believe that their interest is our number one priority, not the process. And everybody goes, well, yeah, I care for the customer. I only fight for the customer, not the insurance company. That's a process. And that's a very critical distinction to make. You wanting to get the car in and repair it per OE procedures is a process. They need to be your priority. And sometimes that means I'm not the shop for you if I'm thinking about you first. And sometimes it means I need to send you somewhere else, because if your car's an obvious total, I'm just gonna run up the fees.
Yeah.
So, so I don't want to cause you that headache. There are places that you can go. We want them to feel empowered in this process, not overwhelmed. When a customer feels overwhelmed, they will do a default to whoever can make them feel more comfortable. And I'm going to promise you that's not us most of the time. Most of the time that's the insurer, because that feels like a hands-off, no-cost, experience. So if I can't empower you and you leave with an overwhelmed feeling, I'm probably going to lose you. I'm either going to lose you in the beginning and not get the repair, or I'm going to lose you mid-repair. And that hurts, because I think for most of us that feels like kind of like a rejection. It's like they're breaking up with us. Well, I just really want to fix your car. So, all right, so the significance for collision repairs and why we have to talk about this. In terms of scope, please understand that caring for the customer has absolutely nothing to do with your knowledge of collision repair or OE procedures. That is important. That is the process. That is part of what you do. In my opinion, that should be a default. Really, every customer should go everywhere and expect that they're going to get the best treatment. In terms of resources, there is not a program, software, there's not a texting program, there's not a kiosk, there is nothing you can buy that will facilitate customer connection. It's good old-fashioned hard work. In a world of technology, people long for human interaction. Give them that. Give them that connection. In terms of time, I'm flat out honest with you, it takes more time. But one of the reasons why we tell you that we don't support, is support a good word? We don't support writing drive-in estimates, right?
Support's a good word.
Is because all that time that you typically may now be spending trying to tap out an estimate to give somebody something to put in their hand and walk away, we've been spending it talking to the customer. And ironic, I don't want to say ironically because that's not fair, Larry, but you're one of the best people at this I've ever watched in the industry. And I know a lot of people wouldn't.
Chris,
don't
stop. Stop. His head's big enough.
I know, but it's one of the things that people don't think. Larry with a customer, but Larry will spend 30 minutes to an hour with a customer, making them just feel amazing.
And get them to do basically almost anything we need to do. I mean, there's 14 documents that are usually signed at shops that we have that I'm involved with, and the only one you can't sign is in a right to appraisal or anything until the right to appraisal needs to be there. But we do explain it to them that you might get this sent to you if there's an issue with this or that or whatever the case may be. But the idea goes back to the class we teach on capturing the keys. It's get the keys. And how many times have we been in class where somebody's looking at us and like, okay, well, here goes Larry, and we set up the whole scenario. And what we need to add to that, and we talked about this, the next one we're going to do is the CSR stuff, because most of the people can't do CSR stuff.
Yeah.
Because the scenario is usually like, okay, Jason, you're going to be the CSR. I'm going to be in the back of the shop. You're going to call me to the front office. You're going to tell me I have a customer in the office, or I have an estimate. Who's just shopping around, who's not. Mark's going to come in, and then we watch you perform, for example, the CSR stuff, and you can't even say hello to the customer when they walk in. You can't even hi, my name's Jason. Welcome to Larry's Auto Body. How can I help you today? And then, I was involved in an accident. It's like, let me get Larry for you. Wait a second. What happened to? Are you okay? Was anyone injured? And then like I even got a couple of CSOs. Oh, well, what's your deductible and what's your? No,
no, we're not there yet.
No,
right?
What are you doing?
We jumped ahead in the dating pool.
Yeah, it's almost like we got captured keys, but we need conversations.
We forgot to take somebody to dinner.
Yeah, for CSR. Yeah. That's what we basically need, and it's amazing once I get involved in it. People are like, and I usually pick one or two of the women that are in the class. Because then they're like really like, there's no way he's getting these keys.
That's why I get letters from attorneys.
And I get the keys, and they're like, wow, okay. And then I walk back inside, and then it's even a flop when I give the keys. Like, okay, put Jason in a rental, do this, do that, and they're like, oh, okay. Do you have rental coverage? Like, whoa, what are you doing, Mark? You don't ask about that.
Yeah. It's an inappropriate first date question.
Well, and I think if we really look at it, if the customer comes in and the only thing they know is, I need an estimate. That's kind of just why they're there, but they don't understand.
No, you need your car repaired.
You're right, exactly. And
you don't need an estimate.
And really, if you are defaulting to having them, the goal is to have them walk out with a piece of paper, you've actually almost lost.
You've lost, yeah.
You just have.
No, your goal is to have them walk out in a rental.
I used to giggle. I mean, so,
Yeah.
as the insurer, I used to giggle because that was how I always won.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So I was really good at these 10 tips we're going to talk about, and shops weren't. So let's talk about them. First of all, this is normally the one I like to end with because it's the big rock moment, but I just decided let's flip it up because a lot of people may turn us off after a couple minutes. So let's just get right to the point, right?
If they haven't already.
Step one for being better at conversation, winning customers, and capturing the keys is speak less often than they do.
Best salesman in the world is a good listener.
Yeah, Mark, you were saying in real estate school they teach that too.
Yeah, well, so my wife, she 5,000 people in a room, and the trainer basically says, selling is not telling. Selling is asking questions.
Yep.
Right.
Just ask questions.
Right.
And and people want to talk if you just ask them questions. Simple.
Right. So our conversation with a customer, that may be my phone conversation with a customer or the in-person meeting at the shop, 80% of that conversation, I want them talking and me listening. Now, that's not easy because they come in and they don't really know what to say or what to do, so it's your job to give them the opportunity to tell you more about themselves, their experience. If you get them talking, they'll eventually tell you what they want, maybe not directly. Very few customers come in and sit down and tell you exactly everything, but if you listen good enough, you will hear what they're really trying to tell you. We make a lot of assumptions. Customer walks in the door, they say they need an estimate, and we go, oh, okay, well, here, sit down in my wonderful lobby, and I've got a coffee machine over here, or I've got bottled water chilled, or I've got a TV and a kids play zone, and all of those things in the lobby that we think make the customer experience that the customer doesn't give a crap about. Because, how many of you remember the days when the body shop was full of dirt and a couch from the 1960s?
Right.
And we would dust it off? Hey, the customer still got the car fixed.
With assorted magazines.
Right.
Right. Right. But we were fixing cars and
Yep.
the customers were happy. So to think that all these lobby amenities and everything makes a happy customer in the collision repair experience, not so. I can walk into a shop that's very small and tiny that barely has a lobby and meet some amazingly happy customers. I can go down the road to a shop that's a Taj Mahal and meet a lot of really angry customers. So your customer service is what is done by you with the customer. So make sure that you're listening. And listening's hard. So talking is a control. I feel like I'm in control of the situation when I'm talking. And we want to be in the control because, let's be honest, as body shops, we feel so out of control of so many other things. That there's so much going on around us that we can't control. We can't stop steering, or we can't stop this or that. And so we want to be in control. And then we mistakenly believe that the customer finds comfort in that. That
Well,
we
it's
swoop
because-
in white horse and I'll take care of this.
It's too many shops get involved in stuff they can't change.
Yeah.
And they don't run their business the way they should run their business and make the decisions about their business. They're worried about changing state laws, changing labor rates, doing this, doing that, steering, like you said. You have no control over those things. Control what you can control is your shop and how you present yourself to your customers. Like you said, the coffee machine crap. You know, the coffee. You know what the coffee machine or the water or the little candy bar stuff is? Once I capture the keys and you're sitting down at the desk, calling the claimant from the shop, not at home, I go, hey, listen, why are you calling this in? You want me to get you a cup of coffee? Would you like a bottle of water? Would you like a soda? Now I can offer you those amenities. Not, while I go out and look at your car, unless it's raining and I'm going to tell the customer, yeah, why don't you give me keys? I'll pull the car in. you know, because I got like a little area you can go underneath. Or, oh, come on, let's go take a look at your car. I don't want you sitting there having coffee or anything like that. That's not what it's there for.
I can't make a relationship with you.
I want you
If
with
you're
me.
not with me,
Yeah.
I can't make a
want you with me.
relationship with you.
I need to do that, what I call the eye wash stuff, or the little showmanship. I got to do the little, you know, the little trick and, you know, make the bunny appear out of the cup. You know, here you go. I'm going to show you something cool. You know, I got to do that little magic
That's
trick.
another show.
Well, yeah.
If there's a bunny in my coffee cup,
Yeah,
we gotta
watch.
talk.
Watch what happens. And everyone will be impressed out there if I make a bunny come out of that coffee cup. It's not going to happen, but watch to the end. Maybe it will.
So let's just, right now, we tend to overwhelm the customer, and we overwhelm them with kindness and good intent, but remember, an overwhelmed customer is going to go somewhere else. The one thing that I used to always tell my adjusters, so here's a little adjuster tip. If the customer is not comfortable talking with you, then they will be comfortable talking to somebody else.
Right.
That's not you. And then you've lost control of that situation. So if they're not comfortable conversating with you, if it's not an open form of communication, then you as a shop, well, you've opened the door for someone like me to come in and take over. And that was what I was trained to do, and that's what I trained other people to do. So we talk about customers come in and just go, I don't know what to do. I was told to come get an estimate. So it's real hard to get them talking. And the way that you do that is you need to learn how to ask open-ended questions. So you'll hear attorneys talk about open-ended questions. We talk about open-ended questions as a negotiation tactic as well. But they are designed to get the other person talking. So I always tell you, be a journalist. The who, what, where, when, why questions are always fantastic. You want the customer to tell us about their experience. So I don't walk up to you and go, boy, I bet that accident really made you angry. Because
You
the
don't know
logical answer is yes or no, right? So that's not an open-ended question. I might ask you, well, how'd you feel after that? And then I'm going to want to let you talk. And not all customers are good at it. Some customers don't shut up once you get them talking, right? But some aren't, and you're really going to have to push the spectrum of those questions. We need to know what the customer felt about the experience, but also what they're expecting with their experience here. Because my job is to deliver on their expectations and exceed them, not to deliver what I believe their expectations should be. So I get involved a lot, and Mark, you know, we all have. We've gotten involved with a really great repair. It was a good
Say
repair.
that again, I think, because that's a key point. Is, you know, delivering on their expectations, not what I believe it should be. I think that's important.
Right, it's huge because we come to the table with a preset agenda, and you're not wrong. The customer deserves a good repair with good parts and proper procedures and test drives, and it's back on the road and they're safe.
That's
they
all
deserve
assumed.
that. Right, they assume that.
Yeah.
So you're delivering something that they just came as a base. So when you deliver that to them, that's not exceeding their expectations. You didn't deliver a fantastic customer service by doing the job that they really thought you were going to do in the first
You
place.
met the expectation of the
Right.
the
And one of the things that we're seeing right now, especially with COVID, is the contactless thing. Oh, they want to drop it off. They don't want to actually be at your shop. And then everything's done on the telephone. Why aren't most shops doing those conversations through Zoom?
Yeah,
I mean,
face to face.
it's crazy.
That
how
physical
shops aren't doing
connection,
it.
you know,
Yeah.
I can get that. Here's the other thing. We know scientifically, Stanford's got a lot of research. If you want to know conversation, decision, consumer theory, Stanford University has a study on just about everything. But we know it is proven that as people respond to questions, so when I have to stop and think and formulate a response to a question, my trust factor builds. I start to drop my walls, and I start to build trust factors. So the more questions you can get them going, one, it means you're listening more than you're talking, and then two, you're getting them to drop down some of those walls, so that trust factor goes up. All right, the next big one. This one's difficult for me, so I do always say, every time I give this speech, I go, oh my God, I've really struggled with this one lately, and I need to readjust. Don't multitask. And that's really, really hard in collision repair, because for a lot of you estimators, you are the jack of all trades for the shop. So you've got email notifications coming in, and rental car notifications, and supplements, and phone calls from adjusters, and phone calls from customers, and you feel like that you have to be doing multiple things. If I walk in your shop and look at your desktop, you probably have 27 tabs open, right, at any given moment. There's a cell phone in your pocket, there's a whatever. When you are dealing with a customer, or in this, if I was dealing with an adjuster in a negotiation, everything goes away. The
You know,
phone.
and I'm going to say something that might get you sued.
Well, that's, yeah.
Why not?
It's a
right?
given around here.
And I'm going to just talk to men right now. Men, we can't multitask.
No.
Now, women can, but men, we suck at multitasking. So you might think you're good at it, and women are really great at it. And it's
Well,
just how in the DNA. But
it's a
we are
less of a
terrible at it.
fail rate.
Yeah.
If you're multitasking, you're not doing something really good.
Exactly.
So, I mean, the fail rate, you may say that women are better at the fail rate of multitask, but everybody's going to fail when you're
Well,
multitasking.
you know, but if you look at it, women back in the early days, they were having to take care of the baby and pick the berries and they had to do all this stuff. Men,
pick
they
the
had one thing
berries.
in mind: get the deer.
Berries.
Right?
Is that a
Whatever.
Portland thing?
But I mean,
don't-
back in the day. So women in their DNA, and I just sit there with my wife.
I agree.
She does all these multitasking. She's great at it. I'm terrible.
I think, just to segue into gender conversation, I think women feel like they have to multitask.
Okay.
And so, but they are really good at it. But
Yeah.
but no one's great at it.
Okay.
It's just a better
good
level
enough.
of
I'm
fail.
going to tell you, men were terrible.
Right.
Just the way it is.
So it's just both genders fail at it. Some fail to a greater degree than
Okay,
other.
got it.
So I mean, when you walk out, cell phone, leave it on your desk.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take. I hate the pieces of paper where you walk out and go, "Let's fill out this piece of paper about your deductible and whatever." I really want you to have a conversation with the customer. You can't buy into them and make them cross that comfort barrier and trust if you're constantly looking at your phone or you do, this is my favorite, oh, excuse me, I have to take this.
That drives me nuts.
Right.
I
Yep.
just like, well, am I not important enough to you
Right.
right now
Right.
to focus your attention on me? You're gonna take this phone. They can call back.
Yeah.
I'm here right now.
Yeah, and I catch a lot of flack because people are like, Kristen, your voicemail's full. I know.
No.
I mean, and it's going to stay full because I'm not going to answer a phone when I'm in the middle of something else unless
like the
it's
CSR.
Larry and I want to get off the phone with him. And then I'm
You
like,
stand
oh my
there-
God, I got to take this.
You know, you stand there with the CSR sometimes, you're talking to them, and they get a phone call. It's like, hello, Larry's Auto Body, please hold for a second. You know, there's 3 calls in a row. Hello, Larry's Auto Body, please hold for a second. Hello, Larry's Auto Body, how can I help you? Whoa, hang on a second. The last person is supposed to be put on hold. You go back to the first person and work your way back down. What do you,
Yeah.
you know, and you do the same thing in front of people. You know, it's okay when you're walking out, you know, I'm walking out to go, you know, look at your car to try and capture the keys, and Jason's passing by. It's like, oh, Larry, 1 second. Yeah, okay, I'll see you inside. Drop that on my desk, thanks. And because it's a worker, I'm passing by him. I'm not stopping for anything else. That's okay. But to stop every 2 seconds for a phone call or answer an email when I'm supposed to be giving you or you attention while I'm trying to get
And
the
this
car.
goes, Jason, I mean, we talk about text a lot. This one drives me crazy when like a shop floor manager or an estimator is multitasking while trying to talk to the tech.
Well, it's how parts get forgotten, or you know, procedures, or a supplement for something. It's like, well, Jason, why is that car still in the lift? Well, remember I told you on Monday we need a supplement because I found the rails ripped open in the back.
Oh, I forgot.
I forgot all about it. Now the car's sitting there for 4 days. Well, my favorite is how they lose cars in the shop because no one does a walkthrough. You know, it's out in the yard. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean, Jason Bartman's car? What are you talking about? That's not even here.
Who's that guy?
He dropped it off on Thursday. Oh wait, that white Lexus in the I passed by that 6 times. Well, why didn't you write it on your list? How do you know? You know, maybe somebody's just parking on your parking lot for
And
some
again,
reason.
I'll say it, estimators, I get it. You've got so many hats that you're wearing throughout the shop that you feel like you've got to multitask to even just barely tread the water. Not like you're swimming, but just to barely feel like you're surviving. You feel like you have to multitask a lot, and just a lot gets dropped. So that's internal when you're talking to your coworkers, and then that's definitely external with your customer. Put everything down, be in the moment with whoever you're with, focus on them, and they will reward you with that. So be careful with that. We've let technology, I think a lot of times, mislead us and think we can multitask. Oh, there's an app for that, or I'm going to use my app to check your vehicle in, or I'm going to do, and you sitting here doing this with your phone while a customer's in front of you is disturbing.
Yeah.
So don't ever devalue the FaceTime you get, because that's rarity these days. All right, my next one that I love, and I struggle with this one, so this is my weakness, and then I have to remind myself, don't pontificate. So it's really easy to get on the soapbox or go on and on about something that you really know a lot about. Like I could lecture every customer for 3 hours on ADAS, right? Or on weld procedures or whatever, but every time I'm doing that, the customer's checking out. They're not following along with me, right? I definitely don't want to pontificate on how I don't like their insurer, or how bad this claim's going to go for them, or how difficult it's going to be, or I don't like something the OE's doing, or that shop down the road that's also certified by this OE does a horrible job. They're not a real good shop. Because if the certification means nothing, then why the hell am I here with you? Right? So definitely don't be predictable. And this is what I like to tell shops. We talk about it all the time, that one of your anger points is that when a customer comes in and says, well, the insurer told me you were going to be difficult, cost too much, or whatever. And then what do?
Get
We
defensive.
validate what they said by being difficult and angry and a lot of the things that we
Yep.
have to do there.
Yep.
So make sure, again, if the customer's talking more than I am, I'm not pontificating, but then always know that we have something to learn.
Yep.
I've always got something to learn somewhere from somebody. I want to try to learn something from every customer I interact with, which where do they work? What do they do oh, you do that for a living. I don't know how that works. How does that work? But watch your soapboxes. And they're easy to get on because it hurts right now in the collision business.
That's the
It
one
does.
thing I'm
it hurts.
not. Well, that's my downfall right there too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I figured that if I could explain to you how you're going to die if I don't reset your steering wheel, you'll trust me, but it actually is going to make you trust me less.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not worth the conversation.
Yeah. The next tip, learn how to go with the flow. So not every conversation starts the way you anticipate it, nor will it ever end the way you anticipated it. You need to be willing to let the customer take you where they want to go and be able to follow along with them and still handle the customer service needs and get the car and the estimate and the repair and the keys and do all that, but let them take you where they need to go. If you try to fight it, or no matter what the customer says, you always counter with something that's completely off topic, oh, your cat died. Let's talk about your bumper.
Yeah.
So, oh, you hit your cat with a bumper. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Right. And notice
Should have seen the incriminating hair stuck in the bumper cover.
right. But take you where the customer wants to go. It's how you acknowledge them. It's how you show their value, their importance. I have to do that a lot when we're out doing audits with shops. There are things that I just really want to get to and get the hell out of there, right? But I need to let them take me where they want to go. That's critical with technicians. I need to let them meander however they want to get to. If I try to force them to my position,
Good luck.
they'll reject it.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You don't look like a real body tech. What do you know? Right? So it's easier if I let them go where they want to go and do that.
Yeah.
Here's my other biggie, right? I don't have to have all the answers to have the answers.
Right.
So when you don't know something, you don't know.
Yeah.
And
Is
just
my
say it.
insurance going to pay for this? I don't know.
Sometimes you don't even know that you don't.
And don't even
You
know
don't know that you don't know, right?
And this is a big one for me. I think first. I think it's humility is a huge strength. And when people try to pontificate that they do know everything, they're just baffling me with BS at that point, right?
Right.
But being able to say, you know what, I'm going to need to look into this. I'm going to have to do some research on this. I think that helps build that trust.
Totally.
It's a huge communication piece. Mark Allen had a fantastic quote about being humble a couple of years ago, and I don't know the exact quote, but I mean, the vehicles have changed so much, and technology has changed so much, and some of the other programs we're going to be talking about later today on our required inspections is going to demonstrate some of that even with you guys. And again, not knowing all the technology and what needs to be done on every vehicle, and being humble enough and being comfortable being humble enough to say, you know what, I need to look into that. I think is a huge advantage in building that trust.
Right.
And you got to be able to say that you don't know sometimes.
And that comes in a couple different ways. That's one of the reasons why I can't write you a drive-by estimate.
Right.
I don't know what it's going to take to fix I honestly don't know what it's going to take to fix your car.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's going to take me hours to do the research that I need to do to make sure that I'm doing it right. Claims has changed so much in the last just 6 months
Right.
that it's things that I would have when a customer asked me, is this going to get paid for? I'd be like, absolutely, no problem. Now I go, I don't know.
Right.
And I have to have that explanation where I have to go, I'm so sorry, I wish I could give you comfort in that and I could give you some support, but I really don't know. My job's just to tell you what the car needs, and then once we know that, you and I will sit down and make decisions on what you do or don't want to do, and then that'll let you have that conversation with the insurer so you're in the best position. Also, when I don't know what I don't know, and I say that I don't know, the customer doesn't feel, I don't want to say ignorant, but they come in vulnerable. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't know how a car gets fixed. They don't know any of this. And when you say that there's things you don't know either,
Yeah.
good, okay, right. How many of us have started a new job where we start that job and we think, oh my God, everyone around me knows everything and I know nothing. I'm clearly not going to make it here. And then somebody comes along and goes, yeah, I don't know how the copier works either. And you go, thank God,
Yeah.
right? It's not just me.
Right.
So That's a good one for coworkers. It's a good one for technicians. When you don't know something, just say you don't know. Go look it up.
Well, and you got to remember, back in 1976, if you pulled your Camaro into a body shop, you said, "Wait, let me do some research," they're going to leave.
Right.
But a 2020 Camaro,
Right.
now it's like, "Let me do some research." Okay, cool.
Right.
It's a whole different mindset with the customer anyway. So it's okay not to know.
It's really okay not to know. And sometimes we think that as the collision repairer, I have to have all the answers for the customer.
Right.
I have to be their hero. I got to put on a cape. I got to go have the war. I'm gonna, and we don't.
We see it as a weakness, but it's not. It really is a strength. And we always kind of tie the analogies back to like the medical profession, right? Like, you don't just go to the doctor and they say, well, here's what's wrong with you. Like, they do testing and they do all that research to let you know, here's what we need to do. Here's our course of action. We have to do the same thing. And no one ever goes like, well, wait, I went to the doctor and they didn't even know what was wrong with me off the bat. We got to do that research. And I think, again, having that humility is a huge strength.
Yeah.
Here, doctor, I'm going to send you a picture. You can tell me what's wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you look fine. I don't, well, no, my chest is hurt, and my
as long
stomach.
as they don't open the picture and go, what is that?
Yeah.
I got all this stuff. Well, I got this big lump over here. You got one on that side? No. Okay, well then you're good. If you don't have two, don't worry about it.
Bad things comes in pairs, or you know what? All right, the next one that is a good tip for conversation is don't repeat yourself.
What?
So what?
What?
Don't repeat yourself.
What?
Don't repeat yourself.
What?
Repeating yourself. Yeah.
On what?
On repeating yourself. We're going to talk about
Repeat what?
repeating. Don't repeat when you
okay.
repeat. Right? Pete and repeat.
Pete and
What are we
repeat
talking about
sitting
now?
on a boat. Pete falls out.
So sometimes we think, so somebody told us at one point, if I say something, 3 times or 5 times, it's
makes it
embedded in the
true?
customer's brain. If I put it on Facebook, it's true.
Oh yeah, right.
That's all that
Abraham Lincoln said that, right?
Exactly.
On his Facebook
On
page.
the Gettysburg Address. It's in there. Read it. So and we basically have this belief that if we're repetitive, the customer will remember it and we'll get. It's just annoying.
Well, we can talk louder too.
We can talk louder.
Yeah.
And we can over-enunciate.
Yeah.
I've said to people before, it's like, who are you trying to convince, me or yourself, that you're telling the truth?
Right.
Which one is it? You're going to keep saying it, so now it's going to become true. I've already told you it's wrong. Here's the paperwork why it's wrong. But if you keep repeating it, I guess one day it'll be true. If you want to lie about it.
So when we talk about persuasion and conversion of trust, which is what we're trying to do in this whole process with a customer, if we go back, we're going to go back to Stanford again and look at some of the research Stanford has done. When you repeat yourself with repetitive phrases, you begin to isolate and embarrass the other party. Because they get, well, why does this person keep repeating this? Or, they're not listening
you think
to
I'm
me.
stupid?
Right.
Yeah.
So you begin to isolate and embarrass them, which then any trust you had gained originally in the conversation, you lose again, right? So it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, kind of, then we're 2-stepping in a way. So make sure that you don't repeat yourself. Hard, because we have some big rocks that we think the customer needs to know, and we really want to drive them home, and we've just got to be careful. Now, when we say don't repeat yourself, it doesn't mean that the customer asks a question and I have to go, I'm sorry, I've already covered that. It means make sure that you're constantly in the flow and you're rewording and rearranging what you are saying. Rephrasing it, coming up. Obviously, if they've asked you the same thing again, they didn't get it the first time. So please, God, don't say the same thing again because that's not going to get it.
Right.
So make sure that you rephrase it in a certain way that can get the customer, oh, now I get it. Come up with an analogy. Come up with something else. All right. The other next big one, stay out of the weeds, right? We like to overwhelm customers, and we like to show them all this documentation and OE position statements and all of these things that in the moment mean nothing to them.
And they don't care.
They don't care. So, in our documentation class, we teach Google Drive. I like that Google Drive is transparent and sharing. I will dump all of that documentation into a folder. I will give the customer the link. They can go back and peruse that information at their leisure. We'll make some reference notes on the estimate so that they know what procedure goes with what, so that they can do that. If they want to call me back with questions, then I make sure that they understand that that's an open invitation to call me with anything. But I definitely don't hand them 6 pages of information to walk out the door, stack this thick and go, here are the 60 procedures and 300 trees I killed to give you all of your procedures. I also don't do that in the explanation. So I get a lot of questions, go, Kristen, how do you explain an estimate? I said, well, I just very simply break it out. I sit down with them and go, we got parts, we got labor, and then we got some electrical and some stuff that we have to do. And then I let them tell me, what do you want to talk about first? Then we'll go into some things, and I have another section over here that says, these are some things that I'm worried may be points of contention. So these things over here, I have no worries about. These things over here, I would consider them contentions. Do you want to talk about them? Do you not? And if they want to talk about them, I'm just going to say, here's the issue. I don't go, oh, you want to talk about seatbelts? Bam! Here. I've got a display for that, and I've got a couple of seatbelts I've taken out of cars, and we're going to do a whole. Don't take them in the weeds. They want to know, but they don't want to know the whole process. They're not interested. I'm going in for heart surgery. I want you to explain to me what you're going to do, but I don't want to become a heart surgeon when it's over. Right? And we sometimes get so excited that we did all this OE research. We're like, yay!
But they're not the people you want to baffle with the BS.
No, but I don't want to do that to adjusters either. If I begin to overwhelm an adjuster with what my knowledge is, they are going to retreat to a position of comfort. And Mark, you were an adjuster for a while. Our position of comfort is no.
Yep. All the power in the world to say no.
Yep. And so I'm going to say no and walk away.
Yep.
So if I get nowhere, I feel good. I can't believe I showed him every piece of information available and they still said no. Yes, because you showed him every piece of information available. That's why he said no. So I got to keep that conversation
going. And then what's worse is then when the adjuster says no, then you call the customer and do the same thing to the customer.
Right.
And now they don't trust you.
Right. Now they're like, I don't even know what you said. I'm going to say no.
So then they call their adjuster and the adjuster says, well, there's a shop down the street that is, and it's gone.
Right. And then it makes it really easy to move the car.
Yep.
All right. So the next tip is be brief. I struggle with this one a lot.
So does Larry.
Right. Be brief. I feel like I have lots of really cool things to share.
Sitting here all by myself,
4 hours.
didn't say a thing, and shots get fired over my bow. What is this?
Right.
I'm going to
So-
sink your battleship. Just wait now.
There's a great saying that goes with this. So like conversations are like a mini skirt. They should be short enough to keep your attention, but long enough to cover the topic. Right?
Haven't heard that one before, but that's good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got it.
Okay. Want to go with that analogy?
Okay, here we go.
And it's one of those ones that'll stick with you forever. You hear it and you go, yeah.
I might steal that
It's
one.
stuck with
Give
me
you
forever.
credit, though.
I'm going to do some
20-something
research later.
Yeah.
20-something years. That one has stuck with me. So the customer is trying desperately to understand this process. They're trying to then process internally their own loss, their vulnerabilities. They're trying to follow along with you. And from that, they need to formulate a response. The yes or the no. You need to be brief because the more you overwhelm, our comfort spot is no. So we'll go back to Stanford again. So Stanford went back when Medicare, I get them mixed up, changed for, was it 10 years ago? The big changes, and you had to go in and select different levels of Medicaid if you were a senior. And
I'm not old enough to know.
Yeah,
so
well,
it's,
you're on AARP. You
yeah,
know
yeah,
you are.
I am. I got
right?
my 10% discount. Yeah.
Well, the government was investing a lot of money trying to figure out how to explain it to seniors so that they made the best selection and selected the best plan for them or whatever. And so Stanford, decision making, that's consumer theory, that's their specialty, basically proved that the more information you provide, the more likely the customer is to make a decision that's not in their best interest. The less information you provided, the more the customer made a decision that was in their best interest. So that's just flat out science. And that is healthcare or estimating or OEM parts. Whatever decision the customer needs to make, you need to be brief about how you present it and allow them the chance to formulate and think about their answer.
At the end of the day, the goal is not to have them so impressed with you. The goal is to get the keys and fix their car.
Right.
It's pretty simple.
Right, exactly. I need them to trust me. Right, and it's going to be a long journey. If I fix your car, it's a long journey. Right?
But that's the goal.
We are not getting that car done in 7 days. It's not happening. Cycle time is not a stat that is followed.
Right.
So it's going to be a long repair. It's going to be an emotional. You're going to have to be involved. You're going to have to talk to a bunch of people. So I need you on my team, right? And I need to keep you on my team through that process. All right, the next tip. Do not equate your experience with theirs.
I know how you feel. No,
Right. You don't know how
no
I
idea.
feel.
Right.
I love it when a shop goes, oh, no, we fixed 100 cars like this, but you haven't fixed mine.
Right.
Right.
And
So-
mine's special.
I'm special. My car is special. My experience is special. My family is special. There is no equating an experience for a customer, right? Sidebar, there is no equating an experience for an adjuster. You want to make an adjuster mad? Tell them what another adjuster does. So come in the shop and tell them that their other peer or another insurance company pays for something.
Is that kind of like the opposite of nobody else charges for that?
Exactly.
Yeah. You're the only one that
Well,
does
you know,
that?
and when somebody says, my dog just died, and you say, I'm so sorry, I know exactly how you feel, but you've never had a dog die,
Right.
you just lied.
Yeah.
And the customer smells it.
But when I'm telling you, when I say I'm sorry, my dog just died, what I'm really telling you is I'm in a really emotionally vulnerable space right now. I lost my best friend, my companion, whatever. What I don't want to hear from you is, oh, my dog died last year too.
Yep.
It's not the same. You didn't love your dog as much as I love mine. We'll all believe that, even though, you know, I know fantastic dog people, but it's just not the same. And that doesn't make the hurt go away. If you've lost a loved one, when someone goes, I know how you feel, I lost my mom too. My mom wasn't your mom.
Right.
Right? So it's not the same. And that doesn't make me feel better. And we know that it doesn't make us feel better in those situations. It doesn't make our customers feel better when we try to say, oh, I've fixed a ton of Mustangs. Or of course you have Mustangs people can't drive. But, I've fixed a ton of Lexus. I fixed a ton of, you didn't fix mine. Yeah. So make sure that you allow the customer to be special. It is not about you. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about your shop. It's not about the equipment you have. It's not about the certifications you have. It is not about you. It is about them. And if you can learn to make situations always about the customer, and remember, that has nothing to do with the repair, because that's what we think. Well, of course, I fight for the customer. If you can learn to make that switch in your brain, you will have fantastic success with customers. They will love you. They will fight for you, which is what we need, right? It's real easy to go somewhere else and get your car repaired. To get it repaired by, you know, a shop that's not in someone's network, there's a whole fight that has to take place. So those are quick 10 tips for having a better conversation. So we get to this point every time you guys, we're out with a shop and they go, all right, well, what do I do next? Well, here's what you do next, right? You're going to have to practice this. This isn't natural. For as long as I've been in the collision repair business, and literally my mom went into labor in the paint booth, right? So I've been here since the 70s.
Yeah,
before respirators and a lot of stuff, right?
Before respirators. Explains a lot. Lacquer days. Explains a lot.
For as long as I've been in this industry, we have almost taught everyone that the less conversation you have with the customer, the better. We've taught you that the customer doesn't want to talk. We've taught you that you should have all the answers, that you need to handle this for them. It needs to be seamless. It needs to be, we've told you all these things that just aren't true. So to develop a new form of communication style is going to take a lot of practice. Now, I don't recommend that today you instantaneously just start trying to try a bunch of new things on your customers.
Just pick one.
Right? You can pick one. You can also practice on your friends,
Sure.
your relatives. You can practice on vendors. I mean, if they're going to come in and out of your shop and take up your day, use them as guinea pigs. I think it's fantastic, right?
Practice when you go into a store like, I don't know, 7-Eleven, Wawa, you know, a grocery store or something.
Wawa.
Wawa's popular in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a 7-Eleven over there. Like, they don't have 7-Elevens, they got Wawa.
If you are in Pennsylvania, I need a picture of a Wawa. I'm just saying. Okay.
You're going to get flooded with them.
Blaze, that's you. I'm counting on you, buddy.
Actually, I personally like Wawa's better than 7-Elevens because they have more options.
I can't take you seriously. I'm
telling you, seriously. Okay,
well, we're going to get Quick Trip into this now, too.
Listen, you go down to Dallas, you got Come and Goes. I mean, you know, that's another career. Like, who came up with this name? You know, really? This is what you came up with as a name for a gas station? I mean...
But yeah, practice. And then when you feel like you're comfortable, practice on your coworkers. We definitely need to improve the communication between front and back. So practice it there, and then when you get really comfortable and thinking, okay, I've got some good skills, then I'm going to go put them in play with the customer.
Well, you might want to see, with a little check-in, go to your spouse and ask the question and say, how am I at communication? And your spouse, if they're honest, will tell you, and you probably aren't great.
Spring, I am hoping that you are texting me some good feedback there. Jackie, that's on you too, so if they're watching today. Now, next, I need to track those results. So if I'm a shop owner, manager, if I'm a shop foreman or whatever, I need to track how we're getting there. So how do I know if my communication is improving? Right now, one of the things you want to do today is you need to know what your closing ratio is. So of all the customer interactions you have, how many actually are turning into closed ROs, so repairs you've made, and how many are turnout, where you don't close the deal either by they pull the car from you or the car never shows up, etc. So you're going to know what your closing rate is, right? Larry, you got great quotes on always be closing.
Well, you know, the problem with the closing stuff is people look at, well, I wrote 12 estimates or 15 estimates this week and 7 came back, and that's my closing ratio. No, you already failed because you wrote estimates.
Right.
You failed 15 times. Your closing ratio should be, I qualified the customer by walking outside, and I refused a few customers. So I don't count that as my closing ratio.
Right.
It's like I got rid of this guy or this girl. Now I'll take my closing ratio as far as who I try to capture the keys from and didn't come back. Or let's say it's a key scratch, and I tell the customer, okay, when do you want to bring it in? Well, I'll bring it in Tuesday. Well, I'm marking down all their information, and I'm making sure that we call on Monday, that Tuesday they're coming back in with the car again, because that's an open type closing ratio that I have to keep track of. I didn't write an estimate. I gave them a business card that says, okay, call me Monday, we'll set up for Tuesday morning, come back. Because I can't keep the car for a rental for a week because it's a key scratch. But too many of these shops will write, oh, I write all these estimates. Okay, so you're wasting a lot of time.
Not talking to the customer.
Not talking to the customer, just write an estimate. And it's usually a very, unless the customer wants to leave the car, and we've seen this happen on our inspections, more or less like Mark wants to get his car, an estimate on his car. I walk outside and I'm like, all right, well, in the first 10 seconds, he didn't want to leave the car. All right, so I'll write you an estimate. You go inside and you write this real crappy 12-line estimate that there's probably going to be a supplement or anything like that. Find out from your insurance company. If you want to get it fixed here, call them up and tell them we're going to fix it here.
Right.
And, if you're a DRP, that might work for you because you're in the area and that customer will just going to come back. But the estimates are usually very, very bad or very, very poor. And then all of a sudden there's a huge supplement. Like, wait a second, you told me it was $1,200 and now you're at $4,000. Well, that's what your company paid when they walked in. It's like, what do you give me an attitude for? And it's because they're used to this, I gotta write you a piece of paper. And I'll walk outside with a customer and tell them, you don't need an estimate, you need your car fixed.
For so many
That's what I'm here
years,
for.
we thought the estimate was the customer service. We thought the physical act of handing the customer an estimate was exceptional customer service.
Well, that's what they asked for.
Right down to, well, how long are they sitting in the lobby and how fast can we get this process done? And just a lot of things that were...
Well, they asked for an estimate and you didn't educate them on, we're going to fix your car.
Right. Well, anybody can give me an estimate.
Yeah,
I can go to
totally.
3 places and get that, right?
Well, it's like the difference between going to, if you go to like, you want to go buy a pair of jeans, you go to Levi's and stuff like that. You're going to get some girl or guy that's in high school or college or something like that, working part-time. And it's like, oh, I need size, 44 by 40 or whatever the case is. And like, oh, okay, yeah, they're over here. They're just going to point you to a pile. If you go to a haberdashery or a boutique that's going to, cater to you, you're like, hang on a second, I'm looking at you. You mind if I take some measurements? Because those may not be the best pants for you. You might want to go with this size instead. Or we offer some customs, or we have these bands on the side that you can open and relax and stuff like, oh, that might make a... Because he's selling me on the fact of what's going to work for me, not selling me on, oh, I know my size, I'm walking in just buying it off the rack. And, that's where you get that better customer service when you walk into a clothing store that is specific for one thing.
Yep.
I've bought suits. I got one Brooks Brothers suit. The service was ridiculous versus going like Sears and buying something off the rack.
Right.
It's more or less, okay, take it to your tailor and do whatever. No, we're going to make this fit you the right way.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice suit. So,
and that's what you got to do for your customers. You got to tailor make each repair. Doesn't matter if you work on nothing but Chevys. But you can't become mundane with it and not care about their needs or their differences.
Right, exactly. So I want to determine my closing ratio. I want to know what it is right now, and I want to mark that down. So however you want to determine that, whether it's just you're going to do the flat estimates written thing like Larry was talking about, or you're going to come up with a different way, you should know your closing ratio. If somebody asks you that, you should just know it off the top of your head anyway. But figure out how you're going to track it, and then determine what that closing ratio is right now. Then you need to sit down and you need to interview your office staff. So how comfortable are they with communications? What are their hang-ups? How do they feel? Do they have customers that call them and change their mind about coming and using your facility? You need to talk to them about their conversational competence and where they feel they're at. Then you need to make sure that they actually watch the class and learn that these 10 tips to conversation. If you have to pick one, pick where we started. Just learn to listen.
Yep.
80-20 rule. Your customer talks 80, you talk 20. If you make that happen, then you're going to see a whole lot of results there. If I can't focus on 10 things, Kristen, but I can focus on one. All right, once you get that down, you're going to track your practice if y'all want to do it internally before you turn it on to customers. And then 6 months later, you want to go back and look at all of those stats. You want to go back and look at your closing ratio. Has it improved? You want to go back and interview your staff again. Do they feel more comfortable? How are you doing with customer interactions, with your negotiations with insurers? How is all of that process going? Has there been any improvements? And then keep tracking that, because anybody can write an estimate. Anybody technically can kind of fix a car. Anybody can look up OE procedures. Anybody can buy a frame machine or the right welder or do a lot of different things. So that's not your differentiating factor in your market. What is your differentiating factor? That's a big word for Arkansas, right?
Yeah.
On one cup of coffee. Is you.
You should have quit with Pontificate.
It is you and your people.
Big words.
Right? I did put, and I made the screen purple for that one.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so,
She had like 9
but
different syllable words you tried.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
she
a
did
big-
okay
big
with
word.
it so
I'm moving
far.
up in the, well, it's COVID, I've been reading.
Oh, you've been reading.
Yeah. So my vocabulary's getting better.
Oh,
but
another.
Vocabulary.
Which means
syllable
like Larry, that
No,
means
no.
she has to read.
Yes, she
don't
has
ask me
read.
to spell it.
Don't ask me to spell it.
Because then it's not going to happen. But your differentiating factor in the market is you, nothing else. It's not something you can buy. It is just definitely something you have to become. So, guys, that's wrap 1, right?
One down.
I guess
One
so.
down,
One to go.
and there are 32 sessions in the
32
next 2
sessions
weeks.
in the next 2 weeks. Isn't that amazing?
So 31
Wow.
left to go.
Here we go.
All right, we are back at 11:15,
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock with CREF.
We're going to be here with Collision
So-
Repair Education Foundation. Brian Van Eckenroe is going to join us, and Jay Abbas from Freedom High School in Wisconsin. And we're going to talk about a telethon that we're going to kick off for the next 2 weeks to raise some money for career and technical school and college programs across
so
the country.
this is going to be awesome. You'll learn about how you can get a limited edition CREF Chubb shirt.
Yep.
Which is, I mean, that's worth it right there, right?
Absolutely.
So you'll have that. Then at 11:30, iCar is here.
Yep.
iCar is going to join us. As you can see, we have some beautiful wrecked cars around us. Super shout out to IAA
Yes.
and Southern Farm Bureau for supplying us the vehicles for this week that we will
Yeah.
be working on during the course of the 2 weeks on the show. But iCar is in, and we will be over with our GMC pickup truck.
Yep.
And then at 2 o'clock, after the lunch break, we'll be back talking about the OEM research process. We're going to start our blueprinting process on the first car we'll be fixing this week. And then at 4 o'clock, Jason, you're going to take us through inspections required after a collision.
Yep. I
So
am.
ripping
And-
out the seats and the steering columns and the dashes and all that fun
Here
stuff.
we go.
I'll get
And,
the
and what
soles
I'm
on.
excited about most of that is there's going to be a quiz for the
There's
three
a
of you to
quiz?
start it off, too. So
Oh,
that's-
I
Oh,
just,
let me pull the information
Nope.
so I can get it.
Nope,
Okay.
not a chance. Nope.
no. So I think we're all going to be slipping Jason money later to get
Yeah.
the questions so that we can all look
I'm
better.
just getting the sawzall. I'll cut up. I'll remove the stuff to get it out of the way so we can inspect it.
I just can't wait to be throwing the seats out of the sunroof.
There's a-
I got them.
there's a
Here they
wasp
go.
on here.
We're good to go.
You gotta get a hammer to break the sunroof so you can throw it
Get that
through
out of
first.
here.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's non-reusable.
Right.
Right? I mean, so we got there. All right, well, we will see you back here in 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
For CREF. And then any of the replays, or if you miss any episodes this week, they will all be available on the Collision Hub YouTube channel. Just want to give you a note. It may take up to 24 hours for videos to process. So the videos may be available the next day, but they will be there.
And
We'll
if you
see
like this video, share with your friends too.
Yeah.
Share it out, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
share it
we
out.
did launch, just by the way, we launched a hashtag.
Yeah.
So it's hashtag Chubb World Fair 2020.
Oh, that's nice and short.
Yeah, if you if you tag yourself watching, we do have some giveaways. There's going to be some free software
lot of spelling.
subscriptions. There's going to be some tools and equipment. There's some fun things that'll be coming out. All right, thanks guys.
See you in a bit.